I know that there was some criteria in determining what programs would be cut and what would stay.
I'm glad you asked about that. One of the things that we did early on last year when I first took over as acting provost, in July, we created 3 committees. A committee to look at structure of the university, especially the academic side. They looked at programs, and then they looked at courses. I mean, we went down as far as course duplications. We're trying to streamline so that we're not offering 6 different statistics courses. We now maybe could offer just 1 or 2. So we've really looked intensely at every level of organization. The program review committee came forth in August and said, we need more time. We don't have enough time to really study this fully. We need to come back together. So they reformulated, and in January, the committee was expanded a little bit. A few new members were added to make sure there was representation from every college and from faculty senate. And essentially, they looked at 3-year completers. In other words, how many students had completed the program in the past 3 years, the efficiency of those departments. We have a formula by which we calculate efficiency ratings for departments and even down to faculty member. So we can tell, what's been happening in each of the departments that way. We looked at faculty full-time equivalents, how much is the salary range in that department, what's it costing us to run the program, what the salary and benefits were, the operating expenses for the program. For instance, if you have a high overhead program, how much money do you have to sustain it in terms of the operating accounts, and then of course what the savings would be if this program were eliminated. And so they did a very detailed spreadsheet and made very good, clear recommendations to the cabinet about what they thought would be the best course of action. Every program was reviewed, and in the future, we will bring every program every year forward for review in the same way, so that we're not ever in this position of having to play catch up. And we can work toward recruiting more strategically. If we see an area has changed, maybe the technology in an area has changed, and maybe our major that we're offering isn't keeping up. We were talking about the journalism earlier, and that's a good example of that. That need to keep things flexible, that the need to continually look at how we're recruiting and working to retain students is really what's going to drive this. So from here on out, we'll be looking at these same factors plus the recruitment and retention aspects of each degree program. So it'll be an intensive review that will continue every year. But this committee did yeoman's work. It was a tremendous undertaking to sort all that data and look at the numbers and be objective and try to make good decisions driven by data, because it is very difficult to make decisions that affect people's lives. It's been a terrible time for Dr. Webb and I and the entire cabinet, because we know this will affect people's lives in a terrible way if a program is eliminated.
Are there any student services that might be cut that would affect the students?
Luckily, we have, like I said before, a great group of folks who have worked so hard to make sure that our students don't notice a difference in terms of the courses. Students, from the students' point of view, I think the effect should be negligible unless they're in one of those areas that's being eliminated, and then they'll have to be counseled. The juniors and seniors in those programs that I mentioned earlier will be worked with to get them out so that they don't have to change majors this late in their career. Yeah. But the freshmen and sophomores will be counseled and advised and moved to a new major. But generally, if a student is not in one of those programs, you probably won't notice a change in services. What we're trying to do is really work together with other areas in the university. So, for instance, in business affairs, we've worked closely with them. They're now handling the one card. That used to be something that came out of Chris Maggio's area, and the Dean of Students. And so we're trying to move sources of staff around it to better accommodate students. Earlier you and I were visiting on the break, and we are distressed about the fact that the regents took this gigantic cut because they have underwritten the cost for the Lewis online system for since its existence for 17 years, and now we have some real concerns about the ability of the regents to continue to fund that, and it looks like the universities are going to have to pick up the tab now, and that's that's going to be a tremendous amount of money for us to have to find, very quickly to keep Lewis going on campus, but we're working steadily to do that. So the library, that's one area where temporarily there may be an issue with Lewis, but we anticipate being able to overcome that.
Is there anything that we've missed?
No, the main thing that I really want the public and the students to know is we are open for business. We're not going anywhere. We are working to run as efficiently as possible. We have not heard any discussion of Northwestern becoming a community college. I know that's a common misconception out on the street. We are here. We've got great degree programs. We have pruned in areas that are potentially low completers. We've tried to really stay away from those programs that are thriving, and we know there may be some additional cuts in the future, but students come back. We're happy. Things are going great from the student point of view. I think that like we said earlier, there shouldn't be a huge difference in the quality of services that they see. And again, I'm happy to always talk to students if they have questions. And to our community, we are, like I said, we're still here. We're working hard to make sure that we stay here. So
now, if student or alumni or anybody needs any more information, how can they get in touch?
Oh, absolutely. You can email me at Abney, Abney, at nsula.edu. Also, David West, who handles our news bureau, is a good source of information. That he also will be glad to talk with you about anything that may emerge. But I'm always happy to visit with people. We think that Northwestern and the community are such strong partners that we've been blessed to have great support from the folks in town, and we appreciate that and hope to continue to have that. And so we're looking forward to moving toward great new things, even though we face some challenges.
All right, well, Dr. Lisa Abney, thank you very much for coming and giving us this information this morning. For those of you who are out there concerned, we're not about to become Natchitoches Parish Community College, not about to become LSU Natchitoches. As far as I know and as far as I've heard, we're going to be remaining as we are, just some program cuts. Again, if you have any questions, you can contact Dr. Abney, David West of the Northwestern News Bureau. I'm trying to think, is there anybody else who they could get in touch with?
Probably we're the two best ones at this point. Of course, Dr. Webb's always glad to speak with people, and so we between all of us, Mr. Pierce is usually out and about a good bit. So if you run into him and you have a question, he's a good source. We all work together very closely. So we'll pretty much any of the cabinet members would be good sources. But certainly I don't mind visiting with students and faculty and community folks about our programs.
For more information on the cuts at NSU, feel free to contact the News Bureau at Northwestern or contact Lisa Abney at abney@nsula.edu. From KNOC on YouTube, I'm Joe Cunningham.